Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this NXT Takeover Toronto special edition review that I'm providing you guys here tonight. I just got finished watching the event, and I have to say, the event didn't live heavily up to my expectations. It wasn't one of the best takeover events I've ever seen, but it was a solid ending to the show. First matchup on the card was the tag team titles. They were on the line with the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era of Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. This matchup was a very entertaining back and forth competition. Very solid way to open up the show and provide us an opening into this pay-per-view. The matchup, I would say, was a 3.5 out of 5 stars, so it had a very good, entertaining portion, start up to the show, as I just mentioned, and it gave us a little bit of like that feel like we're always going to get when watching an NXT show. Candice LeRae and Oi Shirai, this matchup was fucking awesome. 4 out of 5 stars, solid action, entertaining shit, back and forth. Each woman looks very good in this match. Neither one of them look like a loser. They both look like winners. And Oi Shirai picks up the victory by submission with Candice LeRae being knocked out completely. Not even tapping out. She just passed out. I think that was great. It gave her a fighting spirit for Candice LeRae. Oi Shirai looked dominant at the end of the matchup, and she picks up the victory. Perfect way to end this matchup between these two women. Solid ending. Give it a 4 out of 5 stars. This is where the pay-per-view starts to turn into shit until the main event. I did not like this triple threat matchup for the NXT North American Championship. It did not have that entertaining NXT feel to it. It felt more like a WWE or a really bad Ring of Honor matchup that's very slow, very methodical, very much like a deuce a comb, like you took NyQuil and you put yourself asleep type shit. This matchup, the fans were not into. They didn't really get into it at all until like near the end. It's really how this matchup was. They didn't care to watch this match so much. They weren't so interested in really watching the match. It just wasn't clicking like normal everyday NXT matches on an NXT takeover. This matchup was probably by far the worst match on the entire card. I didn't really particularly like this matchup, especially the ending even, because it looked like a lackluster elbow drop by Velveteen Dream, which he doesn't normally provide a lackluster match. He's always usually right on things. He's always giving us all for what he's worth. He's providing 100% work ethic in the ring with these matches, making each and every pay-per-view match quality, every pay-per-view quality matchup means something. In this one, he didn't do that. I didn't feel that he did a great job. The match really lost my attention. I stopped caring for it so much, and I just didn't care to watch this match. This match really disappointed me, and I thought it was going to be a very entertaining matchup with these three great performers. But unfortunately, it didn't live up to the expectations. I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. The Shayna Baszler match with Mia Yim for the Women's Championship in NXT, this match was also disappointing. The only thing that makes this match a little bit better than the North American Championship match is the fact that they actually play a story into this match. Both women are sustaining injuries, which is limiting their ability to perform in the ring. And that eventually leads to Shayna Baszler going ahead and having to modify her submission hold, where she locks her opponent in between her legs and gripping up the hold, strangling her opponent practically, and Mia Yim had nowhere to go and she tapped out. But in the meantime, before that happened, Mia Yim really worked on her arms. Another thing that Mia Yim did that was very street-like mentality is she was scratching, clawing, gouging her opponent's eye. Very hardcore, not very much face-like material. They did not have any of Shayna Baszler's backup show up at this matchup. They were out of the picture completely. It was just these two at this matchup, and they did a decent job. I will put it to you that way. But it was still slow and methodical, and it wasn't all that entertaining. It had its moments. It seemed like it was going to get somewhere with it, but then it just kind of dies out as it gets closer and closer to moving to that next gear, but it never really does, which is the problem with this matchup as well. But they at least tell you some entertaining story that provides you the idea of maybe Mia Yim will win this matchup because of the injury that Shayna Baszler has sustained in the matchup itself. So that's what I was trying to get at, what I'm trying to say. But basically the point of this is that they actually tell a story. That's what elevates this matchup past the triple threat match. Other than that, this matchup was a complete failure in my book. I don't really think this was a NXT TakeOver-like matchup. It really wasn't. It didn't feel that way. But the matchup was decent. It wasn't bad. But it just didn't live up to the expectations of what an NXT TakeOver show should be. So for this matchup, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 stars, just for storyline telling and some moments here and there where the matchup gets entertaining, but eventually it loses my interest no matter what I try to do to focus on the match. It leads me looking into my cell phone. So until the end, that's when I started paying really close attention to the matchup itself. The main event. This matchup was fucking unbelievable. If everything I have said on this pay-per-view, shitting all over it, saying it was crap, this saved this pay-per-view. If it wasn't for this main event, this pay-per-view would have sucked. In my own personal opinion. I'm pretty certain other people have different opinions. Say, oh, you're going off the hinges here, and you're saying that this pay-per-view was shit, and you're crazy. I am not crazy. This did not blow my mind. It did not get me. It really shocked me, quite frankly, in the opposite way, not in a good way, in a negative way. But this main event was good. It was definitely fun, entertaining. It got my attention from beginning to end. I had to do a couple of things during the matchup, so I had to pause the video, so that's why I ended up not actually seeing it live, and it took me this long to get on here to do this review. But I wasn't going to miss a single second of this matchup. This matchup was a very, very important matchup to the entire card, especially the fact that the Undisputed Era combatants, the guys that are part of the faction, didn't even win their respective titles. So I was kind of figuring they were going to go with Johnny Gargano winning the title, taking this to the War Games pay-per-view in November, and having Johnny Gargano, the Street Profits, and Velveteen Dream defend their titles in a winner-take-all match with the Undisputed Era in a War Games matchup. And that's how the pay-per-view would close out for that specific pay-per-view. So I feel that would have been the best choice. They didn't go that route. But the match, regardless of the decision that they made on who should win, it was fun to watch. I mean, it was great. But the logic by Johnny Gargano, he looked like a fucking idiot. Really, he really did. He looked like a fucking moron. There is no reason in hell why Johnny Gargano should get himself disqualified in the first fall. And here's why I say that. One, you're putting yourself in a fucking behind the eight ball. Two, you're going into a street fight, which leaves anything can happen. He could have even had the Undisputed Era come out and help him beat your fucking ass. So if that would have happened, you would have been fucked. Thankfully that didn't happen. This was just between these two guys. Again, no outside interferences or shenanigans happened in this matchup outside of Adam Cole doing a low blow with the referee's back turn and then Johnny Gargano hitting him with a chair. Now, I understand that he was probably frustrated from the low blow, but why would you put yourself behind an eight ball going into a street fight that he could have brought in his compadres, his faction brothers, and beat your fucking ass to a pulp? Evolution style, okay? Or NWO. You can't do that. That in a realistic world, you wouldn't do something like that. But this is professional wrestling, scripted and all fixed. So it didn't work. It really didn't work in anyone's favor. It made Johnny Gargano look like a dumbass. Then in the street fight, they have Johnny Gargano beat the living hell out of Adam Cole. Adam Cole didn't have one bit of offense in this street fight. This street fight was pure domination by Johnny Gargano. And by all means, he should have that type of domination because he got the title taken away from him. So, of course, he's going to want revenge, and beating the hell out of him in a street fight would have been the best thing for him. So I understood that. But at the end of the day, they hurt both Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole in this match. Because if you really look at it, Johnny Gargano put himself behind an eight ball. Then they have Adam Cole in the fucking second fall in the street fight, getting his ass beaten to death. Then he loses that match. So he only gets a fucking win by disqualification, not making him strong whatsoever. Johnny Gargano looking completely illogical in what he was doing there with his strategy. So then we lead into the steel cage matchup with barbed wire on top, basically a no escape barbed wire steel cage match. Alright, cool. It's not exactly a Hell in a Cell match, but it will do for the time for this matchup that they did. It lived up to a Hell in a Cell type value matchup. So I was cool with it. Despite the fact it didn't have a roof covering, I was fine with the idea of just leaving it as is. This matchup, this was actually the match. They should have just got through everything really quick and then got to this matchup and made the majority of this matchup the whole entire match itself. Because this matchup made them both look really good at the end. But they did another stupid thing. They made Johnny Gargano climb on top of a falling fucking Adam Cole on the top of a freaking steel cage with a fucking table attached to it so that he could sling himself and his opponent off the top of it and end up falling through the table. And at the end of the day, he gets pinned and Adam Cole retains the title. The logic there looked ridiculous. Johnny Gargano not getting a victory by pinfall or submission in his win looked ridiculous. So at the end of the day, they made Johnny Gargano look like an illogical fucking idiot, and they made Adam Cole look like a weak-ass champion. I think that was a horrible job they did there, but despite the acknowledgement of that, the match itself was fucking awesome. I can't deny that. It was very fun and entertaining, but when you look deeper into it and you get away from the surface and you dig deep into this, you notice a lot of flaws was built into this matchup that I guess maybe NXT Creative was thinking they wouldn't look into because fans are deeply in love with NXT at this point, and they can't do no wrong. So they felt, hey, what the hell? We'll just do this, do that, and blah, 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 and have one shocking moment, which I won't deny had my jaw drop. Really, I never sat at any NXT Takeover event with my jaw dropped. I've always screamed, yelled, was entertained by it, but never did I go and stay like that for about a minute or two, saying to myself, what the hell did I just see? Because that ending moment was, what the hell did I just see? It was fucking unbelievable. And I gotta give them credit for that. For shock value alone, it was a good match. But the logic was completely off base. I didn't quite understand what the fuck they were doing with Johnny Gargano. And Adam Cole looked like a fucking weak-ass champion. He won by sheer luck. That's it. Matchup, though, I'm giving a 4 out of 5 stars. Very solid, entertaining matchup. Great wrestling by both competitors. And at the end of the day, Adam Cole still retains the title, and every title remains with their current champion. And never switched hands. So that's pretty much your overall NXT TakeOver event. That's the review. I gotta go. I feel like fucking shit. I just wanted to do this review to give you guys my overall opinion and give you somewhat in-depth analysis on how I felt about the program itself and what they provided us here tonight. But anyway, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And I thank you very much for watching. Bye.